Alright guys, here to talk about Season 2, Episode 1 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, When She Was Bad. So, summer is over.
Oh, I was like, who? Okay.
The season, the break from school.
Yes.
Summer's over. Buffy has been with her dad in Los Angeles. All has been calm and quiet here in Sunnydale. So it's been interesting that no vampires have attacked the whole time she was gone. You'd think
Kind of convenient, don't you think?
a little bit, especially since they come back the moment she gets back.
Yeah, before she even had a chance to say hi to her friends. The vampires were already active again. Yeah.
But while Buffy was away, Xander and Willow got to get a little closer. We saw this budding relationship starting.
I love this.
My nose is cold.
Let me get that for you.
Xander!
Sorry, I can't help myself. Your nose looks so tasty.
The fucking ice cream on the nose, and then later when she does it again, he's like, got some shit on your face. I'm like, oh no, It was, oh my god.
Well, it just goes to show you that when Buffy's around, she can't shine at all because she takes all the boys' attention.
I mean, literally, yes, there, which sucks, because Xander, you have a snack for yourself right there that you're passing up. The look on her face when she's like,
Yeah, it's sad.
I was like, oh no!
It's a real try-hard maneuver. You hate to see it, especially when it doesn't pay off.
You got something on your nose.
But just heartbreaking, right? And that almost kiss, this is 1998. That was better than sex. That was amazing. I was like, this is great. We're establishing these things of, like, we did a time skip to kind of paper over. All right, I want to talk real quick. So, like, the end of season 1, they, like, make jokes and they're going to go dance and everyone's together.
Yeah.
And like, Joss was like, that isn't what happened, actually. No, fuck it. We're going to develop these things and, like, change it. We're gonna kind of, like, retcon, like, the vibe. We're going to act like they were just in shock. From like the very next day for months, they've been different and changing, and I love that. That's super good to like correct everything.
Certainly things were changed. I don't know if we can assume all that because this was the date of prom, and prom doesn't happen on like the last day of school. That's what's weird is that they seemingly waited like 2 to 4 weeks to bury the master until Buffy was gone.
Our summer was kind of yawn-worthy. Our biggest excitement was burying the master.
That's right, you missed it.
I know. No.
It's a little strange.
That's what I'm saying. Is like it doesn't line up. It doesn't make sense. This was done because they could have started season 2 like the next day. Like she's got the dress or something.
I think it makes sense to push forward. I do think it's a little odd how they like treated her character because again,
it sucks.
It's so things have changed and but the problem is that this behavior we're getting from Buffy seems like it would be the behavior that next day, the day after, 2 days later, whatever, when it all set in maybe. Yeah. But because again, like you said, they went and danced and partied that night allegedly, and then would have had.
Angel was there, right?
Yeah, I think he was.
They're all together, I think. Everyone.
So then we would have cut to her in school with them for like another couple of weeks, and like was she getting slowly worse or whatever, because it seemed like a big surprise, because even when she came back and after their kiss was interrupted by a vampire in the most humorous comical way, seemed like, hey guys, what's up, blah blah blah, like does her thing, kills a vampire, and things seemed relatively normal.
Hi guys. Miss me?
And I guess a shock of something like this could just come at you at any time, and it really did seem like it set in the moment she realized the master's dug up, and maybe he's not gone. This thing that killed her is still potentially in the picture. So maybe she did have a total happy, normal life this whole time, and the father saying she was distant is just normal Buffy distance stuff. Because
they said it was abnormal. Plus, before
abnormal because her normal was burning down fucking schools and killing things.
No, so like before she even knows, I think, about the details of the master, I think that's the order, is like Willow's like, oh, have you seen Giles? And she's like, no, why would I do that? I'll see him at school.
That was also a little strange.
Have you seen Giles?
Why would I do that? Same at school.
So I was like, what happened to Buffy? But honestly, like, I think season 2, both like visually, the overall look of the show, because you made a comment during one of the episodes we did here during our show, like, oh, the lighting is so distinct, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't quite what I remember or something. But now, like in the opening scene, the camera's farther away from Buffy and from Willow and Xander. Like the lighting is more like I remember, and they've like twisted the finale into this premiere where they're like, no, this is what it is. We're gonna have all the couples paired up. We're gonna have all the new direction worked out. out. We're gonna clean up all this master stuff. We're gonna give you like a better climactic kind of fight with more action. We're gonna make up literally for like all of the complaints and be like, nope, the show starts now. We're doing it. This is like the real show.
Well, now you have your first full season. It's not a 12-episode mid-season show. It's a real show.
This is the
with
green
potentially
light.
a much better budget.
Where they're like,
here we are.
Let's do this. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm super happy and satisfied. It is very patchwork though. Her behavior especially is very like inconsistent. It doesn't really make sense, I think.
That happens a lot in like shows, I find, where
Yeah.
like for the convenience of an episode or thing, a character acts completely opposite of their
Like scene to
behavior
scene,
and
though,
then
I think.
switches right back to normal.
Yeah.
But who is to say what the stress of dying at the hands of a monster would do to you?
I know.
And I'm not going to falter so much for it.
We can excuse all of it with that, and that's fine. I'm fine with everything. I'm just saying, like I had complaints about the season 1 finale.
Sure.
And now this, I think that this like premiere kind of was like, we acknowledge everything that you may not have felt, and we're gonna correct course in this.
This is the road to what
vast
Buffy
way.
really is.
Yes.
The
big
the
time.
first season was finding themselves. It was establishing these characters that we know and love. But now you're like, okay, here's the meat and potatoes. Let's go.
Yeah,
forward.
they hit all the points because they have Giles and Calendar, they have Buffy,
Yep.
I keep saying Buffy, they have Xander and Willow, and Buffy and Angel. It ends with Buffy like crying in his arms and stuff, and he's in the credits. They changed the credits already. I'm like, oh, this is now more what I remember. Yeah.
So you mentioned Giles and Miss Calendar. I think that's great. I love that you have him and Snyder are talking, and Snyder gets these amazing lines, and one of his best is in this episode where he's like, I can just smell it. It's like a sixth sense. Actually, that's one of the 5.
There's some things I can just smell. It's like a sixth sense.
No, actually, that would be one of the 5.
I love that line. I've said that 1,000 times.
Yes.
It's super good. But
I can
like,
smell it.
he's in the background there just chatting up Miss Calendar as Snyder said, like, they're just hormonal beasts, blah, blah, blah. All they want is this, that, and other thing. I'm like, they're stuttering idiots. And he's like, hello.
Yes. No, literally.
Every time a pretty girl walks by, every boy turns into a gibbering fool.
Well, hello?
He's like narrating the scene. He's like, these boys, as soon as a hot chick walks up, they're just like stuttering, and he's like, oh, and he's like doing the exact, like right behind him. It's like I'm talking to myself, and he's already gone. He's like, oh, this is great. Yes.
Try and tell them about the important things in life. Discipline, responsibility, punctuality. I might as well be talking to myself.
It's wonderful. I love their interactions because Snyder seems to think Giles is a friend of his or something, but like Giles does not like him, and that's so like everyone has that person in their life. We're like, this guy's talking to me again. All right, and then when like no one's around, like, I'll talk to you, whatever.
You and I have that.
Of course. Stuck with this guy.
Who's who exactly? Yeah, I don't know. Yes.
Miss Calendar though is back and
she went to like Burning Man and weird like tantric sex workshops, and Giles is like, oh dear, and all that.
Naked?
Yeah, naked. Yes.
You see that they're kind of like polar opposites.
Raves, naked mud dances. You would have just hated it with a fiery passion.
Naked?
But that's what they say. Opposites attract.
Like magnets.
Giles and the gang meet back up at the school. G-Man, never call me that again.
Giles!
Yo, G-Man, what's up?
Nice to see you, and don't ever call me that.
I love
Another
that.
funny line. No, perfect. Giles seems to like be like cutting a little differently. That I liked. I don't know if it's more like, I don't know. I could be full of shit. Like the whole rest of the show could be like a whole different thing. But this is I had this reaction of like, everything's more familiar. This is perfect now. Because Giles seems to be like, no.
The first season is different than
Yeah.
all the rest of it.
I would have assumed that, but yeah, I don't know. Like you just told me, but I wouldn't know. Like maybe season 2 is a little different, and then 3 to 7 are like consistent.
There are pockets of different things in the seasons, but we are now into what is
right.
Buffy. Yeah.
And Willow seems like a little different too. Everyone seems to have like refined their things a little bit, and I'm like, yes. And Giles is like, never call me like just like his delivery is much more. There's some facial stuff too, like after one of the scenes where he's like, just does like a weird thing, and I'm like, okay, he's like a little sassier, it's a little better.
Yeah,
I'm like,
he's older,
nice.
wiser, more head impact.
He's been through some shit, yeah.
So in this episode, we have a group of vampires with the Anointed One trying to bring back the Master from the dead. They're collect the skeleton.
It's like a cult. It's like a nice thing.
We have lost our way. We have lost the night.
Everything like that touches the Anointed is always like a little flair for like the religious, like
yes.
He has that about him.
Because the Anointed One is like their like prophet on earth. He's their Dalai Lama or something.
He's their doll.
Yeah.
Lama.
But and like when he talked about his control, I actually on like a second watch looked for it to see with it. I don't think there is, but I thought maybe the consistency is because the Anointed One is kind of like feeding that one guy his lines or something. But then in retrospect, I was like, no, I think that it's just thematic thing where everyone has a flair for giving speeches when they're near the Anointed One. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
I think it's that the ones that are like to the old ways and follow the book and the teachings and the processes are that kind of guy. And those are the only ones that like give a shit about the Anointed, like your average bumbling idiot is not, I know the old ways, we must do things by the book.
They go, yeah, can we kill this person now? Yeah. No, and like his speech, his like sermon, when they bleed, we drink of their blood. It's like, oh my God, it's great,
Where they bleed, we drink.
It worked. A like almost perversion of the speech we heard in the last episode that, like Cordelia kind of shits on. Or 2 episodes ago, I should say.
Damn, okay.
Buffy has a great dream sequence in this episode.
It's actually great.
I love it because of how like the little bits of realism that are tapped in there. Yeah. So like even from the start, like like Xander pulls out food, Willow pulls out food. They swap their food.
Oh, come on, you can tell us. We're your bosom friends. The friends of your bosom.
Xander. I wasn't thinking anything really.
Willow like accidentally like breaks character and like reveals her feelings for Xander.
Dreams are meaningful.
Shh, tell me about it. The other night I dreamt that Xander... it wasn't Xander.
And then all for Giles to be like, the master in disguise and choking her to death. And I'm like, that's great.
That took me way by surprise. It was like, well, I've killed you once, I guess I could do it again. Because honestly, like the whole episode, right in the intro, when Xander like punches the vampire, I'm like, oh, this is a dream. And then it's Buffy, and I'm like, is it Buffy's dream? Is it Willow's dream? It's probably Xander's dream, because he's like, no, Buffy saved her, so it's not. I'm like, whose dream is this? And I'm like, oh, this is just how season 2 feels. It just feels different. This is amazing. So then later, like once we got here, I didn't pick up on any like, oh, this scene already feels creepy or something. But when Giles, before he's the master, is strangling Buffy and she's struggling, and then it just cuts to Xander and Willow like the apple and like smiling like, oh yeah, and just doing, I'm like, oh my, is that like those little details of nightmares and like creepy things? That's like what what you tell people, and no one would help. It was naked, some weird, exactly.
The master looked good. Awesome. He was in full light. Yes. I was like, all right, our makeup budget is in full effect here. Things are going nice.
And you gotta think, like, they had the master there for like 3 of those drop-ins, because there's one scene where like Buffy is like recoiling, like oh no, the grave's been disturbed, and the master's just staying next to her, and she turns, oh, he's gone, all that stuff. Even those are better done than season 1, where they felt a little weird and like, okay, I don't know.
Yeah. We still have our little like reveals like through the window bullshit, like with that between Xander and Willow one.
Yes.
Like we still have the same air and tone of things. Like, why would he get that close? I don't know. But
vampires are silent.
Silent, but deadly.
I mean, why else would she be acting like such a bitch?
Well, I think we're all a little too old to be spelling things out.
A bitka?
But so we talked how Buffy's very acting out of character, and like everyone begins to notice it. Even Cordelia, who like calls her out on it, like, keep acting like a bitch, you're gonna lose all your friends.
At the bronze, right, when she's like, if you keep this up, you're not even gonna have the loser friends you have, the weird losers you have now. Yeah.
Get over it, because pretty soon you're not gonna even have the loser friends you've got now.
I like that. I like the, like, she kind of she kind of pushes Angel away and then like comes back to be like in the bedroom, like, because she does make him leave and then like let's have it. You know what? I missed you too. He's already gone.
I missed you.
I missed you.
I was like, it's like I'm back in Bad Wolf Bay with Doctor Who and Buzz. It's like, oh no, what's going on here? Did he hear her? Vampires have good hearing, but they're also very fast. Do you think he heard her? I need to know.
I'd like to think he just knew.
Yeah, right.
I don't think he had to hear her. But her pushing everyone away, it led to her friends being like, she's possessed, because she's acting like Hyena Xander, like hey, let's dance, and like everyone looking is like what? You have Angel who's like, okay, she's making me very jealous. I am very jealous. Willow is crushed. Her face tells a story. And even Xander, who's wanted this for like what seems like his whole life, doesn't seem like he's happy in the moment.
The weirdest boner right now.
It's like awkward, and he seems like is this really happening? Like, I wanted this, but not like this.
Exactly.
Like, I don't think you are into me. I think you're just doing this thing to get through some stuff. And like,
ironically, feeling the way Willow was worried about, like, I don't want you. I don't want to go to the dance with you just so you're looking at them or whatever.
Exactly. So you have this thing where she's alienated every one of her friends in the room, and it's like tragic. You hate to see someone you like just like bring it all down so fast. and it just shows you like a couple bad decisions can really fuck everything up.
There's a point where Xander stands up, to her and goes, okay, that's enough.
But this is Slayer stuff, okay? Can we just have a little less from the civilians, please?
Okay, that's just about enough.
So I'm like, holy shit, what are you doing?
Yeah. And Snyder happens to walk in at just the right moment to ruin that and like not let it get to the next conclusion, because you might have had a moment where she could have been like, okay, you're right, or it could have escalated even farther.
I know.
But we didn't get a chance to see that.
She was still on her thing, though, because this all culminates in her being like, so Angel, haven't you ever wondered if you could take me? Kick my ass. Try it right now. And he's like, aren't you, like, on your way? And she's like, yeah, okay, fuck, I'll just go do. I was on the way to, like, save the day, and I'm like, no, you're the one who's wasting my time. Why don't we fight here? And he's like, no, what?
I'm not gonna fight you.
Come on. Kick my ass.
Miss Calendar is kidnapped. Cordelia gets kidnapped right after that like, confrontation in the alley.
I like that a lot, too, actually.
Then
she's
forcefully...
she's like, maybe I'll see if Angel wants to dance. And she gets grabbed. And it's like Buffy in the foreground. My head added to it where she's like shaking her head like this, bitch, and walking away.
I'll just see if Angel feels like dancing.
You just see her like walking out of frame as Cordelia's like being snatched, and you're like,
So she heads to the bronze, where she's gonna, try to get these bastards, and it ends up being a trap that she knows it's gonna be. But the trap is really for her friends.
It is a trap. Just isn't for her.
And meanwhile, at the library, you have Xander, the only one left. Kidnapped are Giles and Willow. And I love the line from Xander where he's like, if anything happened to her, I'm going to kill you.
Yes.
Like, this, again, true emotion thing with, like, just saying it how it is.
If they hurt Willow, I'll kill you.
And, like, I don't know if that was well-placed, anger, but it felt real. And, like, for Xander being this jokey character who's not necessarily known for his acting, it's little bits shine through where I'm like, I like that.
I don't know what your problem is, what your issues are, but as of now, I officially don't care.
No, put it all together. Because this is why he had to do buddy cop movie with David Boreanaz, so that he wouldn't be there to witness the Master's death, so that he wouldn't be kidnapped by them, right? And this episode, he punches a vampire, they almost kiss, they do all this stuff.
He's got a lot of stuff happening in this episode.
He's not into Buffy, as the whole thing says, now listen here, Missy. He gets all in her face, and culminates in this, which is like, get off of me, don't help me up, I'm bleeding. I'm like, bitch, this is your fault. We begged you to listen and like talk it out with us like we always do, and you had to go off. And now this happened.
If you'd worked with us for 5 seconds, you could have stopped this.
And then if they harm a hair on her head, I'm gonna kill you, which is outrageous because she couldn't stab him in half with a twig. But yes.
But odds are, like, I don't know. It's weird to say because if Xander did want to kill her, she's not like the Slayer doesn't really kill humans. Like, and not that like there's a sold-in code, but. I don't know how hard she would fight back. She wouldn't be trying to kill Xander. No, if he was trying to kill her, it could be interesting.
She's not bulletproof. He
could,
he could like hit her with a car or something, right?
Yes,
yes,
he could.
Like he can just do normal things to kill people. Put a bucket above a door full of fish or something like that.
She's allergic to fish.
The typical ways you would kill someone.
But I like that scene. I think that's good. And again, it pushes like how fragile all of her friends' life are, and she's not wrong when she says like, I can't have you guys around here. Stop from the peanut gallery. I don't want you guys talking to me about this. This is Slayer business. Because they all could have been killed. What if instead of dawdling, they just slit all their necks right in the beginning?
Yes, instead of giving a speech.
Yes.
If when they like and wheel them all in.
Yeah, if they were wheeling across a knife, like
I was just thinking that if like as you do that, it's like a machine that's also killing them in a big bucket.
Yeah, you could have had them all dead, and I don't know how quick it is, but the Master could have been back like that. Like
exactly. We could have got like a good Blade scene of the blood going all into the thing, and the sinews going back up. No, I think it's great because this is like the bookend on like all these shows. We've even criticized it of like, why are you like the junior detective squad? Like, why is everyone doing this? Like, why do they go with you? They can't help fight the. What are you doing? And now, like, hey, season 2, I have to establish that a few people want to smash, and why are they always going together to like investigate things? Like, what is going on? This is why, because Buffy does actually recognize like, wait, no, I can't be like, screw you, I'm taking care of this myself as usual.
Yeah.
There needs to be this cohesive group dynamic that we're going to explore.
But that's also what's so weird is that you realized you should have this group dynamic because you shouldn't have this group dynamic. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, well,
in learning how fragile they are and them being in jeopardy because they're included in your life, you're like, I should include them more so it doesn't happen anymore.
So
and I'm not saying I disagree, because you're more powerful together. Because even a warrior and a little baby is still a warrior and a little baby. Like, you're better than not.
I picture a warrior with like a mace, only it's the baby hanging on a chain and he's swinging it around.
Well, you're a monster.
It's the most terrifying weapon that mankind has ever witnessed.
Dirty diaper, yes.
Yes. Oh, yes. Just the baby crying, you can hear it for miles.
But yes, well, that analogy might not be perfect, but what I mean is, in general, even just having more eyes on the battlefield is good. But having her attention diverted from the battle to protect them, that's where it's dangerous.
That's what she says. Is like, I can't be worried about you guys while I'm fighting and all that, right? But this is a nice, I think, it's an attempt by the show to kind of justify. Why do you have an old man and 2 kids that have no powers? She just Googles things for you. Like, what is going on? Don't leave them alone. And it's like, no. This is why. Because they're already in it. Like the bad guys already know their names and they might come for them, so now I have to be part of the fold. And if she would have listened to them and talked it through with them, things would have gone better. And that's Xander's point. It was like, bitch, we tried.
But if they were trying, in the beginning she even says, you don't have a cross on you? You have nothing? Like, once you know vampires exist, don't you always wear a cross? Wouldn't that be your thing? Wouldn't you always have a stake? Wouldn't you just be ready?
I think we had the upper hand, in a subtle way.
Does either of you even have a cross? Very sloppy.
Well, it's been a slow summer. I mean, that's the first vampire we've seen since you killed the master.
So it seems like a lot of this is on them. Their due diligence is not being done.
No, and they needed to fill in all that, because that's just the line to be like, well, the vampire was very close. We need to explain that. It was a good shot, though. I liked it. It was funny. Okay, so got to make a comment. We'll work into the dialogue somewhere to do that.
Come to the bronze before it opens, or we make her a meal.
They're gonna cook her dinner? I'll pretend I didn't say that.
There's a part that particularly stood out to me when she is back and forth with Angel, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I want to be called an undead American." And I love that, and I was like, "Is that taken as a website? Undeadamerican.com?" It's taken.
Because I don't trust you. You're a vampire. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that an offensive term? Should I say undead American?
Bastard.
What's on there?
I don't know. Just went to the website to buy it.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
At least have something up there.
I love that Buffy kind of snaps, and she's like, no more Mrs. Good Girl here, and she tortures that vampire for information, puts a cross in her mouth.
It's awesome.
I do think that's awesome.
Question becomes, how are we going to pass the time till then?
And it's a very tasteful, like, PG-13 way of indicating
just
what's
smoke
happening.
Coming out through her hand, like off screen, just smoke a cigarette a little bit, breathe it out.
She's like, but she somehow got it in. She did the thing, and then did the thing. Yeah, it's great. It's a good, oh no, that's bad. Don't do that.
For sure.
Yeah.
So she does go now. She's with Angel. She's with Xander. They're a slight team. Xander and Angel are gonna break them free, but we need a distraction. She goes, I'm gonna kill them all. I think that will distract them.
I know.
And then she does. She goes ham and she kills everybody.
You two get the others out of here.
We need you to distract the vampires.
Right.
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna kill them all.
Angel's face throughout the episode, but also here, he's so like brooding and just like, wait, what? What? It's great. Yeah.
It's fun to see Angel, a super side character, the whole time we've seen him so far. We're like, you don't look at Angel and go, imposing character, Mr. Does things.
I do.
Business. You may look at him and think that, but when you see his actions based on how he does, generally scared, in the background, assisting in minor roles, to think that he gets a spin-off where he is the Buffy of a show is almost interesting. Because
at this point, certainly.
Exactly.
I don't know if more develops him where that is more, I assume. I'm not sure what year it started. We should track that. Where whatever...
season 3 stars Angel.
Right? Oh, wow. Okay. Good times.
Yeah.
Yes. No, it's, he hasn't done much. He, ran away like a chump from the 3, but we don't know if that was a tactic or not, but he was definitely,
He was afraid of the Claw Man.
Yeah.
He's proven himself to be,
let's go.
not necessarily a bitch, but not a boss.
Yeah, he hasn't demonstrated prowess in these areas.
Because in this, he's delegated to untie them, get them out of here, idiot. Watch the door.
He fights with somebody,
He kills at least a vampire, maybe 2.
They fall through the thing, I think, right?
Yes.
It's him? Yeah.
No, I'm not saying he does nothing.
I just don't want you to sell him a man short. Yeah.
But it's not like he's leagues ahead of what Xander is doing on screen, is what I'm saying. And Xander is just a boy who's literally a 17-year-old. So unless you're
That boy became a man, though, in the park with Willow and there was shit on her nose. your nose is so tasty. I'm sorry. I was like,
I can't help it.
Art and buildings. I was totally beachless for a month and a half. No one has suffered like I have suffered.
I think it's very cathartic that after Buffy kills, like, you know, like the sermon-giving vampire with the sledgehammer, that like the sledgehammer just like, you know, drops. She picks it up and like fucking grounds that guy's bones to make her bread. And like you can see that's how, like when she has the release, that's when she starts to cry into Angel's arms because she's like, it's done. His bones are decimated now.
We get the line from the peanut gallery, it's over. No, it's not over yet. And she goes, drags the sledgehammer. I was like, oh, this is great. It makes sense that there's a sledgehammer there now. Yes.
I like when it's all said and done. The next day, Miss Calendar and fucking Cordelia talk, and she's like talking this deep thing about how and then the worst part is you never get over the blah blah blah. Let's talk about fucking stains on her shirt. Yeah. You're like, okay, we really had a couple of lines.
That's a metaphor, though, right?
None of that rust and blood and grime comes out. I mean, you can dry clean till Judgment Day. You are living with those stains.
That's how I know. Like, that's the character that I think that they're season one a little more scared now. Now they're honing in on it. She's like the popular girl who says the words of wisdom at times, right?
She definitely does drop some decent things at times, but then at times it's written to be so dumb. And I took this as one of those just like I'm dumb kind of lines, which kind of breaks the character's thought. You're like, wait a minute, if there was anything, is this just me looking at the the red shirt in a TV show and or in a book and going, communism. it means communism or bravery or the blood of the innocent. Like, am I reading in too much on this thing, or is there a thing there? And it's hard to say, and that's kind of the beauty of the Cordelia character.
Yeah, no,
is that she's clearly not an idiot because of things she says, but then she says things where you're like, you are so valley, like what's up?
But the way she said stains, though, she was relating it to like the lust and the violence and the badness.
When you look at Miss Calendar's face, though, she's like, that's what you take away from this? Like, it was not like, and Miss Calendar's not a dumb person.
It was a fun interaction.
Yeah, that's the worst part of being hung upside down by a vampire who wants to slit your throat. The stains.
Well, I thought in that situation she was driving it home. But yes, it's the things like this where I'm like you're clearly one step removed from the world.
Yes.
And that's part of what's good about it.
She's privileged, I suppose.
Oh, for sure.
No, like this episode made me go like, oh, okay, good. Because I was like, did I just forget Cordelia's whole character and the whole thing? Like last season we had the speech about like, it's better to be alone with all these people than be alone like,
which is fantastic.
You stupid bitch. And she was like, oh, shit. And yes, so I was like, oh, yeah, that was what I remember. And then now this episode, she has like 4 things to say where I'm like,
she's not very centric in this episode. Something.
Well, but each of those things fits into a certain. Yeah. She's the voice of reason for Buffy with her being a temptress with her friends, whatever. She's trying to drive a wedge in between everyone she knows for some reason. Yes.
Well, it's easier to drive them away and have them leave you than have to have the difficult conversations in life or realize that these people in your life could die. So, get out of here! Get out of here, Encino Man! Take this fistful of quarters! We don't want you anymore!
Go home!
I love the button where you have, like, the Anointed One just runs away in the middle of the fight. Yeah. Like, you're all gonna die. Fuck this shit.
I'm on a losing team again.
I hate that girl.
I hate that girl. Yeah, and I get it. He's like, you ruined my plans again.
Yeah, I'd hate her too.
Yeah, and I'm wondering now how how does the master come back from this? You gotta make a smoothie out of that, out of those bones.
I would love to have seen it get to the actual part where he comes back and know what happens, because they do have the skeleton perfectly arranged in his body and stuff. I'm like, does just meat start to grow on it? Like,
yes. Or
does like another one come up from like a pile of blood over here? Like, are the bones just the conduit that brings back him, or that what's actually going to come back?
Blood is made in the bones. So, but vampires don't make blood; they need to eat it. So
they were going to spill 4 people's blood.
All the blood from the Scooby Gang will then rain upon the bones, who will greedily soak it up like a sponge, and then he will regenerate the way he would if you had injured him.
I'd be down.
They don't have the budget for this, though.
Not yet.
This would be Kevin Bacon becoming invisible again. This would be a lot of work.
He's gonna blow out his heart!
There's one part that my only real trouble area of this episode is so the whole vampire experience we have up to the moment of what I'm about to say is that one vampire that popped up between Xander and Willow. Yeah. So there's a vampire. Buffy stakes it with no conversation at all. There's just like, you miss me, and kills him.
Hi guys.
they say, Giles, we saw a vampire. And Giles must consult my books. And then the next time you see him, he's like, I think I know what all this vampire business is about. And you're like, what could you possibly have looked up? A random vampires in town? Oh, it must be they're trying to resurrect them.
Yeah, no.
What?
Yes, I must consult my books.
Oh, 8 minutes and 33 seconds. Pay up. I called 10 minutes before you to consult your books about something. Thank you.
Like the chapter after, hey, you've succeeded in sealing the Hellmouth. Now what? Be on the lookout for there's like a whole pamphlet. There's like a whole
turn to page 34.
Yeah, exactly, where it goes through. Oh, yes, the warning signs. Doot. Next slide goes through.
Like that, I thought was ridiculous. I'm like, what is this paint by numbers fucking fighting evil?
No, that like to me, what you've just described is like the template.
That's the problem, is it comes across as a template.
Hey, Giles, there was a manhole cover slightly askew. I must consult my books. Oh, there's an alligator man. It's just
but that would at least be something like...
No, I'm saying...
Yeah, I know what you mean. This was like,
hey,
throw a
Giles,
dart at the map. That must be where they are.
I must consult my books. Whatever. I actually liked here how they're like, she's possessed, and Giles is like, I don't know what you're talking about, right? And like up until now, I feel like everyone's always,
spot on guessing.
Well, they've like jumped to to a conclusion, and I took it like, oh, this is good. We're like teaching the audience and Giles that like anyone in the group can say, but what if she's invisible? And you're like, that's ridiculous. How could she be invisible, right? And blah 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 blah. So in this episode, it's like she's possessed, and he's like, I suppose there could be and then it's like she's not. No, she's just being a bitch.
Xander's line of like, are you saying it's impossible she could be attracted to? Oh my God, she's possessed.
Exactly. I didn't realize. Yeah.
Are we overlooking the idea that she may be very attracted to me? She's possessed.
But you're ignoring the possibility that she just finds me irresistible. Oh no. Yes.
So like they have their big breakup makeup thing here. I think it's a real touching moment when she comes back into class.
Oh God.
Or even before that with Giles. He's like, they'll never forgive me. Blah, blah, blah. I think you'll see that it'll be fine. This won't even be the worst mistake you make this year or something like that. That was meant to be better.
But believe me, that was hardly the worst mistake you'll ever make. It wasn't quite as comforting as it was meant to be.
I meant that.
But she goes back to class and they kind of look like they're ignoring her at first. They're talking, but there's an empty seat and she's like,
we
hey
saved
guys.
you a seat.
And that music that's playing that you called out, like that music plays for so long and it's so kind of cheesy and weird and almost uncharacteristic of other music at the show.
So cheesy, yes.
But then it all works. Like they welcome her back and open hands. We saved you a seat. You want to go to the Bronze tonight? I'd say we could grind our enemies into dust, but we did that last night.
So we bronzing it tonight?
Wednesday's kind of beat.
Well, we could grind our enemies into talcum powder with a sledgehammer, but gosh, we did that last night.
But gosh, we did that last night.
Yeah, real Ace Ventura.
And then it cuts to her and she's like, oh shit. And then like they kind of like fade into the background, the music kicks up and you're all like, okay.
I'm like, this scene's still going.
We're all friends again. This is amazing. Yeah, no, but like I think as this, I feel like the show starts here. I feel like everything else is like a season 0 reference material to like set us up or something. And this was it, so they needed to bring it all back. We have all the couples, we have all the things, we have the friendship secure. We know from now on you can just do Monster of the Week and I'll just believe everything you say. Consult the books, argue, whatever. I'm worried about your health, whatever. Everything will fit perfectly.
What would somebody want with Master Bones?
A trophy, horrible conversation piece.
As much as I love Monster of the Week, we won't, like, it's like X-Files. There's always going to be an underarching plot, and that's fine. But yes, Monster of the Week is definitely where I think the strength of any one of these kinds of shows is, because I like to see the new thing, and what are you going to do, and how do you deal with it? But going into season 2, we're going to see a bigger budget things. We have 22 full episodes on, like, our first season of 12. So we've got a lot ahead of us, so if you liked what you saw, let us know in the comments below. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next week for season 2, episode 2.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.